With that, I want to welcome to the show Kathy Romeo.
Yes, I'm glad you're here. Thank you for having me.
And Kathy is the owner of Kathy Sign Language.
Correct.
So Kathy, maybe you could tell us a little bit about your company and what led you to establish it.
But I was born with a hearing loss. So by the time I got into high school, my hearing just went down, and I couldn't do phone music anymore. So long story short, I graduated from NTID. So now I got laid off from medical billing 4 times. Last year, I asked my husband, "Can I just go after my dream?" And he goes, "Okay." So I have been. So it's been quite a pickup for the fall already. And some of the stuff that I did is not what I did to reach out. They found me.
So your dream was to start a company where you could work on sign language interpretation and teaching?
Teaching, educating. So I do from children, early intervention to elderly. I just did finish a 55 plus over the summer, and I thought that group was funny. I was having a great time doing it. Just about all of my classes are a lot of fun. So basically, I do teach sign language, but I do talk about the culture, how like something we don't do that's okay in that world. Like my mother taught me, you can't point to people, but in our world, it's acceptable because that's the only way to get the sense of direction you want.
Gotcha.
So it's just little things like that.
Right. So, I mean, and you know, as science and technology has become so advanced, and particularly research around the brain, that audio sensory is extremely important. And the sooner there are diagnoses made, the sooner there are adaptive plans. People can go on and live the productive lives that they want, and so that's part of what you work on in the schools.
So I'm actually speaking. I'm doing one thing right now at the school. There's a little boy who he's nonverbal, so that comes to a lot of autism.
Right.
So I'm actually working with the school to have he can hear. It's just a matter of him communicating what he knows. So it's been a lot of fun. I know the mother, so I get to go over to his house and teach him some signs. So I've been good at the school. So because I did that, now we're signing up to a teacher's professional day next week, Wednesday. So I'm like, oh, okay. So things are coming up. Could I get my feet here? Somebody,
right.
I know somebody can do this.
So a teacher professional development day, you'll go in, talk to the teachers about maybe things that they can pick up, how they can, schools now, classrooms are supposed to be inclusive and inclusion classrooms. So you would have in classes now, sometimes with an aide, sometimes not, a mix of students who may have a variety of needs, and you can work and help coach teachers on how somebody maybe with some hearing impairment or challenges, they can get the best out of that student.
For sure. I think we've come a long way when we talked about diversity and inclusion, not just in the workplace, but schools. You just said, I think with the technology coming out here nowadays, we are breaking down barriers that we never could before. And it's just amazing that technology is helping us to go that far. Mm-hmm. And I think my goal is to teach sign language, deaf cultures. If I can get into companies who are hiring, I can do speaking engagement for diversity and inclusion. I actually did another teacher's professional day 3 years ago. There's a school for learning for the deaf in Framingham. Some of those students were crossed over to the public school, high school level. Mm-hmm. So I did a teachers association there because they wanted to know how a cochlear implants work. They wanted to know what do they need to know for their student that comes in here. So I ended up having 3 different sessions. We had a great time. People thought my information was good and solid, but they can use it to go back to the classroom.
Right, right. And you mentioned something that's important. With a 3% unemployment rate, and I know like some people who might regularly watch this show, certainly people who work with me at the chamber, say I sound like a broken record, but the single biggest issue that we hear from our members, regardless of the size of the company or the sector they're in, is access to talent. Finding motivated workers, talented workers, and I think we recognize they come in all forms. Right. And so we don't want anybody on the bench that's motivated to work and learning, and part of what your company does is works with HR departments and employers to say, hey, you can increase your employee pool by doing these things and working with people who maybe have be hearing impaired or deaf or have some challenges.
That's correct. So there are ways to do that. So again, It's going to be depending on the company.
Right.
Because how they can afford it, is it in their budget? There's a lot of factors that get played on. So because I'm doing this school, I was supposed to be there every day. So when I was working on me going twice a week, I'm teaching this little boy and everybody how to understand what he's trying to say to the teacher. Like, for example, he was reading a book, but he signed all the words in the book instead of saying it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm behind the teacher just saying what he's saying to her.
Gotcha.
So you talk about business and unemployment. It's kind of funny you talk about that because I was unemployed a few times, and that's a fact of life. There's nothing anybody.
Right, right.
So I've learned to excel. I've learned to go keep looking for jobs, no matter what I was doing. And I just did unemployment, and then come to a heart, Kathy. I showed what I've been doing. She's like, "You're the busiest person I've ever met. Like, you just go, and the Chamber of Commerce is making a game changer for me. Opportunity that's going to come."
Yeah, well, I want to say I probably should have started off by saying thank you. You recently joined the Chamber with your new company, and I'm glad to hear that it's helping you network.
Definitely. I'm hoping at some point people are going to be calling me back. Hey, I remember meeting you at.
Right.
So I can't wait for people to start reaching out. So granted, I've only been doing it not even a year.
Yeah, and that's a big focus right now for many companies and organizations, including the nonprofit world, is being proactive and thoughtful around issues of diversity inclusion, and diversity inclusion manifests itself in a lot of ways, including people who maybe have specific challenges, in this case, hearing challenges, and that's where you can kind of come in, work with an HR department, work with a company, depending on what their needs are, to say you might make these suggestions, you might want to take advantage of this technology.
Oh yeah, definitely. There are a lot of technologies out there. So there was a big, huge deaf barrier that came down the past couple of years. One of them is this guy named Niall DeMarco. He went and did modeling, and he came in first place, some TV reality show.
Yeah.
So he came first place for that. Then he went on and did Dancing with the Stars, and he won that. So the fact that he did all this, we can do better. We can be a part of this world. Just because we're deaf doesn't mean anything. I mean, I speak, some of my friends don't.
Yeah, yeah.
So there's a lot out there that the technology is helping us to break down those barriers.
Right. Can you just give us a couple of examples of some of the technology that's out there? I know my wife works in special ed, and she talks about some board or keyboard in the schools.
Oh yeah, so this little boy I'm working with, he had a little keyboard, I think it's an iPad, and he got selections to choose from, and he can even say a sentence from that little thing he got.
Right.
So it's amazing. That's one way for technology. There are others, like phone calls. We actually have what they call a relay service. So that Purple, Sorensen, they come into your home and they set your computer up so I can get a phone call. But it's really like, if it's a deaf friend of mine and I are talking, it's just give me the true about. It's like a video phone. It's like Skype.
Right.
It's exactly the same thing. So that could come into play now. So that all of this is hoping to exceed, hoping us to go further more than what we wanted to. What's the other thing? Teacher is long gone. The closed caption on TV.
Closed caption.
So I tell you, when I was on YouTube looking at all your previous, they were closed caption. I was very impressed. They're pretty cool.
Well, I wish I could say we had something to do with it. It's probably the good people here at Charter TV.
No,
yeah.
There's people like me can go on and look at YouTube for whatever reason and find, oh, it's closed caption. Now I can now I can understand what's going on. I can get an idea, and that's a huge deal. Talking about other adaptive. I have a phone flasher. Oh, I have my alarm. So I'm going to give you my alarm when I'm home. Because I take off my cochlear implant, I'm completely deaf.
Okay.
So I can't hear anything. So I have this little alarm. My lamp is plugged into the clock. The clock is plugged into the wall. So I set a time to wake up. And so my lamp will go on and off. It's just a way of getting me up.
Right, right.
I remember back when I was in college, there was a board underneath the mattress that shook. I'm like, wow. We've come a long way for that too. There's just a handful of ideas what we do.
So you've given us some really good examples of how technology has really been, taking down barriers in terms of people's ability to communicate and engage in ways that people might take for granted.
That's for sure.
Right.
So I use the relay service, but I use my voice carryover. So if I'm calling my doctor's office, let's use that as an example, because I may not understand everybody who's on the phone with me.
Right.
So I use the relay service, but still use my own voice. So I'm just wanting to hear what he or she is saying to me. Mm-hmm. So.
Great. Well, Kathy, if people want to learn a little bit, I know you're a new company, so I don't want to make any assumptions. How can they get in touch with you, learn more about your company?
I do have a Facebook page. It's Kathy Sign Language. I am
Kathy
working on
Sign
my
Language.
website.
Okay.
I haven't got that up. That's been a little challenge for me.
Okay.
So
Kathy Sign Language on the Facebook page, and you're here in the region in Central Mass.
yep. I live in Grafton.
And live in Grafton, and so companies, organizations, schools that want to know how they can be proactive in working with people with hearing challenges, hearing impaired, deaf, you can kind of work, advise, coach in a variety of different ways. And for employers, it's not only the right thing to do, but it's a chance to grow your potential pool of employees with good, motivated people who have a lot to offer.
And yes, for sure.
Okay.
I love meeting people. So this last week, I've been branching out something new. I'm like, wait, what? So it's only because somebody knew me from 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So now I've got 4 classes coming up next month.
Good, good. Well, we'll thank you again for joining us, and Kathy Sign Language on Facebook.